Coach.
Morning. How are you?
How are you?
Doing okay.
Extra.
Obviously disappointed.
Disappointed?
In the game.
Yeah.
I thought defensively and special teams wise, I thought those guys played good enough to win the game. Offensively, a lot of challenges and just not good enough.
Things look different when you're watching as a fan, so probably
sure.
looks completely different to you. But is that the worst game you've been involved in your professional career?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, there've been bad losses around here, but once again, my focus is on this one, and it's a true loss if we don't learn from it, including myself. So, been around some tough games.
12 penalties over 100 yards. I know
Yeah.
you're disappointed. You put that more on the guys or on you as the head coach?
It initially starts with me, and we just have to be better. I will say, like, going back to some of those penalties that happened in the game, I mean, some of them were questionable. Like even with Nick, they said he moved the ball forward and called him for that penalty, and there were other things that happened. But when it's all said and done, they called the penalty, and we just have to be better.
Jerod, one of the things that you consistently talk about where you're struggling is your inability to throw the football. Like you said, you ran the ball well, you played good defense, special teams. What are you going to do differently moving forward that you think you guys need to do to change it so you can start making some plays?
Yeah, look, we're in the solution business. No matter who the players are in the locker room, like we as coaches have to come up with solutions. And, I say it every week. Every spot is going to be evaluated, and it still holds true today.
We talk about this with the Red Sox. Do you have the personnel on this football team, on this roster, to be winning these games?
Look, we're always looking to get better. I'm not going to sit here and say, our roster is good or bad. Like, this is what we're working with. And it's my job and the coaching staff's job to get these guys to go out there and perform at a high level consistently here and going forward.
This past week, there's been a lot of reports, whether it was the mutiny report that in the locker room, it's teetering on a mutiny. You had Godchow, Covington talking about players being selfish out there. What is the issue right now when you look at this team? Are we blowing it out of proportion, or is there a lot of frustration behind closed doors?
No, I don't. The mutiny report is what it is. Guys put out things all the time. If it's true or false, like. That's for you guys to decide, and you guys to, kind of put your spin on those things. What I will say is
the unfortunate thing. Just heads up, in a mutiny, the captain is the last one to know. So just be careful.
No, I appreciate that.
But lock the doors.
Thanks.
Okay.
Greg has no idea what we're planning.
He's never played team sports. But
I was on the bench.
What I will say is,
I got a uniform, but yes, go ahead.
When a player comes out and says, "Look." You guys use what the players say, and they also use you guys as vessels to get the word to the players as well, because they all listen to it, they all read it, see it on see it on social media.
Yeah.
What I will say, I agree. Like some of the plays that we had, and this goes back a couple of weeks now, letting the quarterback out of the pocket. It's like, look, let's play within the scheme. And I tell the guys all the time, like, this is the canvas. I don't care what picture you paint, but just stay on the canvas. And so you have to have those guardrails to keep those guys in order. And if you're not doing your job, then, look, you can't be on the field.
So is there truth to it? Just the mutiny?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I'm the last to know.
Yeah.
That's what
right.
Okay.
But it seemed like
you should ask the player. I'm not sure if you have. You should ask the player.
We asked Jelani Tavai about it, and he said on Friday, he said absolutely not.
You could ask everyone.
Well, I did ask Jelani Tavai about Jacoby Brissett and whether he thought Jacoby gave the team the best chance to win. And he paused, said, I don't know, you have to ask Coach Mayo.
Which I would say it's all good to pause. When you ask a question, sometimes you got to think about
I wish I had more often.
Yeah.
But in all sincerity, so do you believe that the plan, whatever it is the most effective way to build at the most important position?
Look, we're going to get better. And once again, I would say all positions are always being evaluated. I mean, pause.
So I guess maybe to piggyback off his question a little bit, do you feel like at this moment right now, Jacoby Brissett still gives you the best chance of winning?
Look, we haven't had our full staff meeting today. That's a conversation not only at that spot, but all the spots, how we get better as a football team. We're not playing well. It's not a secret. And being the head coach of this team, like, I have to accept all the responsibility for that.
Are there, when it comes to the mutiny thing, are there players that express to you that they think that Drake May might give you a better chance to win?
I don't want to get into what players have told me in my office or anything like that.
Yeah.
But once again, we have to take a look at everything.
Yeah.
If you have a meritocracy, which I think you do, and you said that there have been times that Drake May has outplayed Jacoby Brissett, Do you risk, let's say the locker room stuff's mostly nonsense made by the media, I'll buy that. Do you risk losing a locker room as a former standout all-pro player yourself if you see that the most important position isn't being occupied by the guy that gives the team the best chance to win?
Look, one thing I would say about Jacoby, and I've said this time and time again, and even yesterday he was hit quite a bit. Look, I admire his toughness and, being able to get back up and continue to play the game. He made some good throws yesterday. He also missed some throws, and that has shown up, pretty, all season. Now, in saying that, he's been hammered back there in the pocket, and I think it's unfair to sit here and be too critical of him, but at the same time recognizing to give this team the best chance to win, we have to be able to throw the ball. And so, like I said earlier, it's a solution-based business, and we got to find solutions as coaches.
What was the plan for the end of the game yesterday? Was the plan to get the ball to Hunter Henry? Because it did seem like you just let time run off the clock.
That was a mis-execution on multiple levels, which I would say as the game wore on, the focus, especially in those critical situations, just wasn't there. And, we have to do a better job, making sure we understand these situations, which we go through situations all the time. And even going back, looking defensively, they were just on the field too long. And it gets to a point in time where, those guys are tired. We had a guy in Marte Mapu, this is his first game and played the majority of the snaps. And, we got to be in better condition. We got to be able to execute in those critical situations, and it starts with me.
Jerod, I think the biggest reason why we're frustrated as fans is we looked at this team before the season started, and we looked and said, okay, on paper, you're better than Washington. We think you're better than Chicago and Denver. And then
I call cap on that.
No. I did. I sat on this radio station and said, this is a better football team on paper. Top 10 defense.
I think he's right.
Running game.
Chicago.
It's a hot.
Chicago.
Full cap.
So here's what I would say is when you see these young quarterbacks that looks like they're getting better. I think that's where the frustration for us as fans comes in, because which is fair. We felt like we were going to be in that same situation, and maybe we'd be sitting here, not to say at 4-1, but 3-2, with the headed in the right direction where we go, okay, we got our guy of the future.
Yeah, which is fair that you and the fans feel that way. I would say as a coach and being inside this building, and I've said it time and time again, like we have to do what's better, not only for the short term, but the long term, which I understand and don't fall into the narrative fallacy of, this goes back to when Zuckerberg started Facebook and everyone started dropping out of college thinking they're going to start the next Facebook. We see a couple of quarterbacks out here doing well. There's also hundreds of examples over the years of it not going that same direction, and that's how I feel.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you look at, like Wiggy brought up the Commanders, you look at that organization, what is the difference when it comes to the result that they're getting from your perspective? Because you look similar.
Look, I know what you're trying to. I know what you're trying to lead me to. Like the quarterback threw 90%.
I'm good. I thought that might be what.
No. Look, the quarterback. The quarterback at the Commanders. Not to get into talking about other teams. Like he threw, 90% one game. I think the other game was 85%. Look, he's playing well and he's playing at a high level.
And remember, we never cap on this show. We're all facts.
You cap sometimes.
No, I never cap.
Yeah,
So
pull
the
Your
clip.
wife would say
Pull the clip.
differently.
Yeah, pull the clip. He doesn't have the clip. He doesn't have the clip.
Well, Wiggy talks so much that you can't remember which one was which, so it
Which is
usually
cap and
bounces
which is
out.
not cap. Yes.
Jerod, we'd be remiss not to ask about Jabril Peppers. We just found out about that. Do you have anything to say? I know the organization said no further comment at this time, but as a head coach, this is a guy under you.
Yeah, he called me that morning. I knew what was going on, and the NFL, we've informed the NFL what was going on, and we're still gathering information.
So he's still on the team as far as you're aware?
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows the facts or anything like that. It's a process.
How do you feel like the young wide receivers are progressing?
I think they are progressing. I would say, look, let's look at Booty yesterday. The guy, he gets a few catches, but I think the most impressive thing, or the thing that I want them to hear, is on that long run by Ramondre, Booty's out there blocking, and that's how you get those big plays where everyone out there is helping one another.
With Ramondre, was the plan always to have him sit, not start, and then put him in the first quarter? Was that just you were going to see how the game went?
Well, I would say, yesterday those guys rolled quite a bit, and the plan was, to have Gibby go in there and start the game off, and we'll go from there.
And I guess the last one for me is, it might not be my last one based on what you say, but how do you feel like, because I heard you talk about the coaching staff and you guys got to do better. How do you feel that Alex Van Pelt is doing, especially when you're talking about the offense here, when it comes to designing plays, maybe creativity, and to get some things going in as far as for your passing game? How you feel like he's been doing? Is there some things you'd like to see him do more of?
One thing I would say, look, these are the cards that we've all been dealt, and I would say look, let's start up front. It always starts up front, no matter what side of the ball you're talking about, defensive line or offensive line. We've had multiple combinations up front, and so you get kind of limited until you feel good about those 5 guys that you have up front. What I will say is we got out of the game yesterday relatively injury-free compared to the past couple of weeks. And so hopefully we could build some consistency there and those guys get on the same page.
How much of a role do you have with Alex Van Pelt in the offensive game plan as you build up this week for the Texans? Or is that he's the head coach of the offense, you're overlooking it?
And I kind of took that back when I said it earlier. I think it was in training camp. Look, I'm ultimately the head coach. I spend a lot of time, equal time, I would say, with the offensive and defensive staff, and we go through all those things. And look, it may not be the same lingo, but I would say from an idea standpoint, remember, it's all about spacing. I give my thoughts, and he puts together the game plan.
Do you give thoughts, though, with the four plays? You're averaging just under 8 yards a carry. You have 4 plays to get it in the end zone. You throw 4 straight times. Was that a mistake in hindsight?
Well, I wouldn't want to say it's a mistake. What I will say is we got down there, and even though we did throw the ball, the execution of the plays was bad. That's what I would say.
I think there is a concern for those of us who loved you as a player. Wiggy was saying this earlier, that you don't have full say when it comes to something like who your starting quarterback is going to be. And I think that comes from those who have heard you say, you said again on this show last week, he outplayed Jacoby Brissett in training camp. I think there are some who go, wait a minute, is it his decision to make? Yeah. And if so, how is he not walking in there today and going, all right, we got to give something different a try here, Yeah,
and that's fair. It's a fair assessment. It's your opinion. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, you guys are here. You guys are here. I mean, look, you can offer up any.
You got
opinion.
The answers. You're doing a great job.
No, I'm just saying, you guys can.
All right,
look,
but if you wanted to, you would watch. Is it your decision only?
Can I say that it's my decision only?
Only. Not Elliot, not Robert.
And that's no cap.
My decision only.
Okay.
Well, there's lots of cap space too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
There are lots of players out there.
I'll lighten the mood a little.
The mood's not heavy though, for me at least. Like, look, we lost. We've not played well. We haven't performed well. We haven't coached well enough to get wins. With that being said, it's all a waste if we don't learn from these mistakes and get better going forward.
Yeah, I like that. NFLPA suggested this week that they want locker room interviews to go away. Sometimes guys are, caught without a towel on.
Yep.
Sometimes Wiggy.
Is that the main thing? Caught without a towel on.
Wiggy used to do that on purpose.
We're all adults.
How would you do?
Eyes up. You don't know what I got below the waist.
What's happening?
You think they ought to go? No, all right. No opinion on that. Either way, no opinion on that. All right. Anybody else with Coach before he gets to work?
When do you think you'll make a decision if you're going to go with Drake for next week?
Look, we're still going through the film from yesterday, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
All
right. Thanks, guys.
All right, Coach.
Thank you, Jerod.
That is Jerod Mayo, and here is Court.